I thought I'd take this opportunity when I've got a bit of peace and quiet to reflect on this year and my competitive season. Hi everyone, it is your girl Steff, and it is Wednesday morning. It is a beautiful, bright, sunny, blue sky day in Aberdeen, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't absolutely freezing because it's Baltic up here. If you have not been up to Aberdeen, it's a whole other level of cold. Anyway, I thought I'd take this opportunity when I've got a bit of peace and quiet and calm to reflect on this year and my competitive season, and it feels like a really right time for me to sit and just go and take a deep breath. I feel like I wanted to kind of do this little video just to talk about my experience, and also to kind of solidify what has been, wow, a whirlwind, an absolute roller coaster of highs, lows, emotions, exhaustion, elation, periods of extreme motivation, periods of extreme wondering why the hell I'm doing all this, as I'm sure most of us go through at some point through this crazy world of bodybuilding, through preps that we do. But it feels like it was the right time to kind of just take a moment's pause and put the brakes on and just have a little look at everything that's gone on through the whole year. So bear with me if I'm taking some time with this one, because it's funny, like you go through the motions and you don't take time ever to stop and reflect, and then when you do, it all becomes quite overwhelming. And I think certainly in my case, so much has changed throughout this year that I almost can't quite believe I'm sort of standing strong through it all. And some of these big things have included moving countries, dealing with some difficult adjustments and personal circumstances. I've gone through a divorce last year, went through a big shift in terms of what was important to me career-wise and professionally. I met the love of my life in the eye of the storm, I guess. And I say met, we already knew each other, of course, but our worlds collided at the right time, I think, is probably the better way of putting it. I moved back from down south to Scotland, moved home, literally have had family health problems that I've been dealing with in the background, which has been quite sad and stressful and upsetting. I've lost people from my life. My brother has moved away abroad. It's been a big shift. So there's a lot of things that have been going on in the background, and meanwhile there's been me under the bar through all of it, keeping my head zoned in to what is literally what I call like my rock and my iron. It's my solid. It's the place I go to seek solace and remind myself who I am and take out my negative emotions and try and change them into positives. And that is being in the gym, breathing, exerting myself, using my energy, fueling my body, feeling the weight, challenging myself, throwing my emotions into it and enjoying the entire process. I'm even getting emotional thinking about it, because every session for me this year has been tough, but so real and so right for some of the hardships that I've been through. And if it hadn't really have been for the gym this year, I might not have got through a lot of things that has been going on in the background. And I'm not one for really putting personal things out on social media, because I believe some things should stay personal, and you have a duty of respect to yourself and to people perhaps that are involved in your private life, that you don't necessarily need to publicly forum a lot of things. But we all go through our ups and downs, and I think it's important to acknowledge that you never know what somebody is facing or dealing with behind the scenes, and it's very important to maintain an open and genuine understanding that, you know, we've all got our own set of circumstances, set of shit, shall I call it, that we're dealing with. And I maintain I have a set of morals and values for myself to treat other people how I want to be treated, and I'm quite a deep and a sensitive person, and I am very aware of when other people perhaps are dealing with things as well. So I always take the sort of premise that if I can help somebody understand something from another perspective, or use my experiences to help somebody else think about things from another point of view that might help them, then I'll give everything I have to these people to help them through some of the stuff they're dealing with. I'm digressing because I'm passionate about mental health and fitness. I think fitness and the gym can really benefit people in more ways than a lot of prescribed medications and other means in which medical professionals suggest. And I don't think there's enough promotion of getting active, gym and fitness and health for well-being. So that's a little sideline, and of course I've been involved with some organisations that promote that, so something I'm very passionate about. So back to coming through a year, and let's shift now into my competitive year. So I started this year out. Andrew got in touch with me and was like, Steff, do you fancy doing a guest spot? Do you fancy doing a routine together? You know, you're fantastic in terms of your choreography. I love stage routines. Why don't we do something a bit different? And that's how this all started. I was never intending on prepping for shows this year at all. I had my head in far too many things. I was still recovering from a trauma and shock, and I was in a really hard, difficult and quite depressed place. And so I never really thought I was going to kind of throw myself into a competition prep. But, you know, we got together, and Andrew's a light in my life, and he came like a whirlwind, and it's his whole amazing demeanour and personality and passion just flew into me, and it was like a wave of brightness for me, and he just ignited a little spark and reminded me, you know, that you can survive through things, you can be something, and you can get your passion back, I suppose. And so I just thought, you know what, why the hell not? Like, let's start. This will be a good opportunity for me to get some routine back into my life. It'll be a good opportunity for me to remind myself why I love what I do. And it's not a show, it's just a guest spot, so it'll be fine. So I did. I started the prep, and I started gunning for the guest spot. Now, as always, things throw up, the different circumstances were thrown up, more fire was sort of added to the fire, if you like, with some of the things that were going on in the background, and things delayed, of course, that guest spot. There was a lot of reflections on what we wanted to achieve from this year with our bodybuilding, where we're going in terms of our status. You know, we've both reached pro level, what we wanted to do, what was next. But I never really thought it was going to be competition. I know that Andrew was always going to do the DFAC Grand Prix, and so it was a case of just let's do the WNBF guest spot, then let you go and do the DFAC, and let's call it that. I never intended to do anything. Anyway, that came, and at the DFAC World, so actually before that, Andrew competed at the UKDFBA Scotland and took a win at the UKDFBA stage, which was fantastic. He used that as a warm-up show earlier in the year. We then canned the BNBF guest spot for various reasons, personal reasons. We were quite busy at that time with our clients and with posing, and things were just, we were traveling all over the place, and it was just really there was too much going on. So we decided, it's expensive to go down and do this, and there was no real solid reason other than just doing the guest spot that we felt actually we need to prioritize shows and prioritize our clients. That's why that kind of ended. And then it was like, oh my God, I'm ready for a show. My body came in really fast this year, and I think it's due to me the starting point I had was much lower in terms of my weight due to distress and things like that. So I think the reason why I came in so much quicker was because it was a better starting point, but also I went ferocious, guys. I went into the gym and it was like a red rag to a bull. It was suddenly right, this is mine. I'm going to own this. I've gone through so much. I'm going to absolutely nail this prep. And I went at it. And suddenly come kind of guest spot time, I was super ripped and really, really tight and really happy, but peaked too early, because then of course we didn't do the guest spot. So it was a case of, well, what am I going to do now? Because I've peaked for this, and what do I do with this? Because I'm either going to lose muscle at this rate, which I felt like I was starting to, or I throw myself into a proper prep for a show. So I kind of did a mini reverse out of that to then decide that I was going to do shows later. And then that decision still didn't come till much later on. I was umming and ahhing with a PCA show. I was thinking, could I do 2 bros? But I didn't feel like I was ready for that. I didn't feel my physique was perhaps matured enough for those types of stages. I never really think I'm that big, so I'm always I don't think I'd be competitive there. And I know you've all got to start somewhere when you're changing federations and things, but I just didn't feel quite ready for that, and that is a goal, but it wasn't for this year. So I then just kept going through the motions, and we were interacting with lots of new people in different gyms up in Scotland, one being the fantastic Ian Lawrence. This is a huge shout out to Ian. 1975, Mr. Nabba Universe, one of the only 2 in the world to win the Grand Slam. He is one of the golden boys. His stories will make you laugh, make you cry, inspire you. He's just got so much charisma in terms of his career, what he's done bodybuilding wise, and we're so lucky to have him just up in Fife at a local gym doing his thing, and spent many a weekend with Ian talking bodybuilding. He put me and Andy through posing, which was an absolute privilege, and we've had some real fun doing that. And speaking about the federations, and he's watched us both do our prep. He's been involved with just helping us pose to the best of our ability. He's kept a wee check on us sometimes just to say, oh, how are you doing, and everything else. And then he said to us sort of around to the end of the middle of the year, guys, a lot of the Scottish Nabba competitors haven't taken up their invite, who've perhaps qualified to come to the universe, or some of them have just fallen off the bandwagon or whatever. But he said, why don't you come, Alan, as part of the Scottish team? I'd like to invite you to come and compete at the Nabba Universe. Honestly, I haven't been as excited about anything for such a long time. It was Ian Lawrence, this guy that we look up to, because we're just bodybuilders at heart, me and Andy. We love bodybuilding. I'm sitting next, right now, I'm going to show you. and sitting next to this book. We have this here every morning. We flip through the pages. This is the encyclopedia of modern bodybuilding. Arnie's absolute beast. We look at these pictures like every day, every morning. We turn the page and we just take some inspiration from these guys. We take some inspiration from the old days, and we talk about bodybuilding all the time. We live and breathe this. Andy is a researcher for bodybuilding. We take our clients through the woes, the highs, the lows, preps, off seasons, etc. I'm posing people every week. I am living, breathing, sleeping, eating, thinking about this, and I love it. And I never really attached as much meaning to it as I have done this year. And I think because it really has helped me grow as a person and helped me through some dark times. So anyway, Ian Lawrence invited us to the Nabba universe, so that was now on the agenda. So it was then a case of, well, I've had the privilege of standing on a WNBF stage and earning my DFAC Pro card. I had the wonderful experience of going over to the DFAC Worlds in 17 and taking second on that World Pro stage in my pro debut, and I was ecstatic with that, and I'd love to try and rival that again perhaps someday. But I thought, this is a chance for me to do something new, and with winning that pro card and taking second in my pro debut at DFAC and winning the British figure title at the WNBF finals in 2017, that stunted my natural shows that I could do in the UK if I was to just stick with that federation. And because of what it meant was the only show I would be able to do is DFAC in Miami, which is fine, but can be very expensive, of course, as well. So I decided, Andy and I spoke, and we contacted Lee at UKDFBA and said, could we come across and compete at the UKDFBA? And would we be able to compete as pros, as we're recognised as DFAC pros? And respectfully, Lee said no. He said, you can't come over to compete as a pro. That's not their rules. You would have to come through the amateur ranks again and compete in your class, and then, of course, try your best to hopefully win or take a placing there to then go on and compete in the pro ranks if you were offered your pro card. So it was quite a hard pill to swallow, I think, because, and that's being honest, because when you've worked so hard to gain natural status in one federation, you hope to at least do the same through another. But if you are to come back into the amateur ranks, you've got to prove yourself again for another federation, and I think it's only respectful to follow the federation's rules. And so we went away and we reflected on that, and we were like, should we not? It was a really difficult decision, but we thought, you know what? No, we love bodybuilding, love natural stages. UKDFBA is an absolutely brilliant platform for showcasing natural talent in the UK. It's fast growing. We want to be a part of that. We want to celebrate natural bodybuilding, and we believe that all competitors, no matter what level, should showcase their physique on many stages and really try and unite natural bodybuilding across the country. So that's what we decided to do. So as you guys know, that was then a plan. So we kept that as a personal goal for us. We really were working hard for it. Andrew went in for the DFAC Grand Prix, and we went up to the finals there. On to the next. So Andy did that, came away from that, and we both were ready for the next goal, and that was, of course, going to be the UKDFBA British Finals. And we just got our heads down and we just pushed. And I was quite concerned, actually, that I wasn't going to be ready for that show based on just my anxiety. I'd taken my foot off a little bit of the gas because I hadn't had a formal plan. Anyway, I've moved because the light was blinding my face. So we went, of course, down to the UKDFBA, and despite having a little bit of panic that I didn't think my body was responding very well because of my anxiety, etc., we came away with just an unbelievable result. That day I took the FitBody British champion title. I regained that from the first time I did UKDFBA in 2013. I did FitBody then, took that title, and I've come back 2019 and taken that title back. Whilst Andy compete in the pro ranks that day too. And we had the most amazing experience being able, they brought all the females and males on stage together for the overall. And I actually got to stand next to Andrew and do a pose down. And I'll see if I can put some pictures on here whilst I'm speaking about this. But oh my God, that was just the icing on the cake for us both for this year. We love each other. We love what we do. We love bodybuilding, we love muscles. We just got to flex and do our thing together, which was awesome. So really was a highlight for us. And of course, we were awarded pro status that day with WNBF. So we're very excited to now be able to call ourselves WNBF Pro Bodybuilders and Pro FitBody Champions. So that takes me on to talk about that in just a moment. Now, post the UKDFBA, we had the fun experience of going to the Nabba universe. And honestly, guys, if any of you managed to watch my Instagram story that day, you'll know when I walked in, I was like, I am not expecting anything here. This is just for me to get up and have another experience with this package that I've brought this year, despite everything, and throw it on stage for the judges to judge and for all to see. And I really genuinely was just so excited about being there. I was looking around like a rabbit caught in headlights because there was so many names and people that I followed through my bodybuilding journey so far there. It really is a pinnacle show. It's a huge show, pinnacle of bodybuilding. It's the Nabba universe, competitors from all over the world, internationally competing in these classes, big classes, a great stage, a really nice venue. And there's a real different atmosphere and sort of respectful ethos between the judges and the officials and the organisers and just everybody involved with the Nabba organisation. They all speak with an element of kind of history to the bodybuilding, and it was different. It was really nice to hear it. I mean, this is a federation that's like 87 years old or 77 years old. I can't remember which one. I mean, this is it has a real sense of integrity and history and like true bodybuilding essence, if you know what I mean. It was great to be a part of, and I listened to some really interesting things and some cool stories that day, and I also had the opportunity to compete. So I jumped up in the athletic figure class. I was actually originally down for trained, but I got down to the venue and I asked actually at registration if a couple of the judges or somebody could look at me because I actually felt more athletic. I didn't feel anywhere near as big as these trained girls. You know, I'm a natural competitor in sort of putting my first toe in the water and competing against some of these bigger girls. And I just looked at these trained girls and thought, no way in hell am I trained right now. Or will I ever probably be? But anyway, you know, these girls were massive. So they had a look at me, and right enough, they were like, I think it was Darren Poole actually. And Darren, very nice to meet you. You won't be watching this, but certainly those of you who know Darren, great guy. He just took one look at me and said, perfect example of athletic. Off you go. And so that was great. And it was quite nerve-wracking standing in front of like 4 judges beforehand. But it was nice to get their feedback, and it was very, very well appreciated. And yeah, so that was that. So then, because of the situation with Andy's tan, we quickly saved me, I guess, and so I was the lucky one out of us that I managed to go second. So a shout to A1 Tan, to Nicola Gilbert, who helped sort my tan out on the day, and a much darker chocolatey colour, and I jumped out on the athletic Miss Universe stage, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I took 4th place with some very positive feedback. The calibre of the girls backstage was great, and you know what, I knew a couple of the girls, I've competed with them before. Awesome. And the best part of doing the athletic figure class for me was the fact that I got to do a routine, and I'm going to put my routine here. Hopefully it'll be showing on the screen if I can get technological. I loved it. I'm a dancer, performer, choreographer, so getting to actually move and do some routine work was great fun, so that was good. I never expected to place, so for me, I came off that stage ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic. That was such a highlight. And so from 2 weeks before doing the UKDFBA Natural British Finals and taking FitBody Pro WNBF status there, to 2 weeks after jumping on the Nabba Universe stage in a lineup I've never kind of stood in before, feeling well out of my depth and taking 4th. What a end to the year for me. I came off that stage, I threw my hands around Andrew, I cried. It was like pouring out of me, like a lot of the things that I'd experienced this year. And I kind of knew then that that was like a full stop to my year. And I knew that the invite for the WNBF finals was around the corner, and this was going to be a big decision, but I couldn't think about that day. But I kind of came away from the universe. We went out for some food. I felt there's such a huge wave of emotion and just really excited about my future in bodybuilding, that I kind of felt like, no, I need to reflect on everything that's happened now. I feel ready to reflect, and I also feel not like, I feel like I was going to come away from this year and be like, I'm not bodybuilding again, I am going to take time away from this, etc. But actually doing the universe and doing the UKDFBA a couple of weeks prior, I came away from the universe and I was like, I'm not done. I feel like I'm just starting. I feel like I'm just about to start. And I've got big dreams, big goals. And I want to put my time into thinking about my next sort of plans. But that's not I'm not ready for that yet. I need time now to say thank you for help to myself for getting through this year. Thank you for staying strong when you thought you could give up. And I'm trying to just give myself a little bit of kindness, because that's not something I do very well. I'm very, very hard on myself. And I kind of want to stop what's on my head. So I came off Nabba and I was like, this feels right. I feel contented. I've had success I never thought I could have this year. I'm so grateful for that. And the most important thing out of all of this is the vision that I had through all of my training over this last 2 years from 17 to now. The vision I had of my body, how I wanted it to look, the condition I wanted to bring, the muscle size, the shape, but most importantly, the shape. I wanted to bring my legs up. I wanted to get more of that quad definition. I wanted to look more like an X frame and a smaller waist. And I wanted to volumize my back and my shoulder. I just wanted everything to look neater and more balanced package, particularly in my legs. And when I've seen my Nabba pictures, and UKDFBA as well, but particularly from the Nabba, because my tan was darker than the UKDFBA, I can really see the definition. I got them back, and I have been like, that's why I've done this, to see that vision that I've been working so hard to get me through this last couple of years achieved. And I'm so proud of that package that I've brought this year. I love the look I've brought this year. It's my best yet. And I know there's more to come. I know there's more to come, because I've just got the fire in here to do that. So I am absolutely ecstatic with my year. I am now going to go over with Andrew in 4 days. He's 4 days out of the show. I'm going over as his number one fan. I'm going over as his soulmate, his teammate, his supporter in all areas of life. I'm going over with my hair down, contented with my success this year. I've got nothing else to prove to myself, and if I was to do that show, I'd only be doing it for other people. My body is exhausted. My mind, my well-being needs some downtime, and I have a couple of little niggling, annoying injuries, one in my rhomboid and lower back that I'm monitoring, and having now been through 2 full peak weeks, I am really struggling with particularly my lower back one. I've actually been in the gym this week doing sort of high volume sessions, and just even one of my warm-ups tweaked it the other day, and I just know my body is absolutely done. Been prepping since January. My joints are just like, have a break. I need to put some body fat back on, and I need to reassess and recalibrate my stores ready to go again for a bigger picture. So the WNBF has been a really difficult decision for me, whether to do it or whether to not. And I know quite a lot of people have been saying, why don't you just do it? Why don't you just do it? And I would, but my mental well-being and for my body, I need to have a break. And I'm happy with that decision. And I'm even more excited for Andrew. And I'm more excited for the team and being involved with the UKDFBA British team to go over, support them, help them, smile, laugh, eat, do New York. And I know that option to go back to WNBF to when I've made A, the improvements, B, sorted my niggles out, C, got into a better mental frame of mind again, I'll be ready to tackle that stage. So it's coming. It's just not there yet. So that's where I'm at, guys. This is a roundup of absolutely everything I've done this year. I'm so happy with what I've achieved. I want to say that I've met so many incredible people this year as well through my client work, my posing work. I am aware that this is a lengthy one, and most of you probably have switched off by now. But, you know, if anybody can take anything from this, I hope that it's been helpful. We've got a killer team coming in for 2020. Pro Prep is going to be off the hook next year. Guys, if any of you are interested in coaching and you want to discuss plans, please do get in touch, because we are going to take a last little opening before Christmas, and then we are done. We've got a team ready. So please do let us know. But for me, this is my 2019 little wrap up. I'm going to leave you with what I'm extremely proud of, which is my trophies and my invite to the WNBF, 4th on the Nabba Universe stage, and the biggest thing that I'm most proud of and happy and I suppose grateful for is having the strength just to get through some really difficult times and still present something that I'm really happy with. Oh, I'm getting all teary, so sorry about that, but I'm super, super happy for that. My strength is what I'm most proud of, and the vision I had for my package actually came to fruition. So that's why I do this stuff. The last thing I want to say is, Andrew, I love you so much. I'm now going to go into an off season and an incredible Christmas with you, and thank you so much for being my number one support in everything and showing me how to love and how to have lightness in my life again. So, over and out from me before I literally become a waterfall. I am grateful to everybody who signs in and supports us, guys. I've had a great year. Now I'm going to go over on a plane to New York as a member of the team to coach, help, support, and just generally share my love for this sport. Thank you very much. Speak to y'all soon. On to the next thing. Let's take over the world.